And now we've got Steve Hellwagon. And joining us from 247sports.com. Steve, what's up, man?
Oh, not much, guys. What's going on?
We're hanging in there. Talking a little bit of Buckeye basketball today. I guess the kind of two big news going on is one, and it's really players not being associated with the team anymore. LaQuinton Ross looks like he's going to go to the NBA, and I asked myself why on a number of reasons. And then Luke Kennard is committing to Duke. First, tell us a little bit about the LaQuinton Ross decision.
Yeah, it seems like this is a done deal. I mean, Jeff Goodman, who seems to be very tied into what's going on at Ohio State, reported yesterday on ESPN.com that LaQuinton was leaving. You'll recall on the day that Ohio State lost to Dayton, Goodman was the guy who came out with the report that they had been in contact with a player from Temple, who's transferring, which would be a godsend for Ohio State if they're able to get this guy. I think his name is Lee, and he averaged 13 points and 8 rebounds a game at Temple, 6'9" big man. They need a big man desperately, even if it's just for 1 year.
Yeah.
So I think Jeff's tied into what's going on. I think the decision is, 99%. LaQuinton, for whatever reason, went out on Twitter last night and said it was not a done situation yet. Thad Matta on his radio show said the same thing, that it's not a complete thing yet. So whether they're waiting for a certain time to announce it or whether he's having second thoughts, I don't know. But I think he's got about 2 feet out the door. And if he can get one of them back inside, then we'll see. But, different thoughts on him. I mean, he had such a great stretch down, the end of the season, 19 points in 6 straight games, and then he only had 10 in the loss to Dayton. They really did a great job of bottling him up. Every time he got the ball in his hands, they were bringing a second person at him to swipe. So difficult game for him, and a lot of OSU fans are down on him because he didn't play well in the loss. But, geez, he's rated by both ESPN and CBS as a top 30 NBA draft pick. So, that's potentially the first round, could be the early second. You never know. But he's got the opportunity to go pro, certainly, whether it's the NBA, the developmental league, or Europe, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean,
and now you just got to figure that out.
It can't be the NBA. I mean, if Deshaun Thomas is sitting in the D League in Akron right now, LaQuinton Ross, I mean, when you just look at his game, it can't be. It can't be more than that. I mean, I'm kind of torn here because if they keep him and try to use him in that same role, I think it's going to be bad for the Buckeyes if he stays and they move him to a number 2 or number 3 scoring option, then that might be more where he fits in. But I mean, if Thad wants to keep him as the guy, I'd almost rather see him go for the good of the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of ups and downs with LaQuinton this year. You think about the disciplinary issues he had on the court, shoving guys and the attitude that he had. Some people are saying the team would be better off without him, and I think that, you could make that case. At the same time, he did have several games where he just basically took over. He wasn't consistent in that regard, certainly. I think that there were some good, some bad. I think it would help his draft stock if he came back and became, as you say, part of the system as opposed to a one-off type guy who's just trying to carry the team himself. So, his rebounding, could improve. Everything about his game could improve. The thing is, at 6'8", there aren't very many people that can do the things that he does. I mean, he can handle the ball, he can drive to the basket, shoot the three. So, I think that's what gives him a leg up, at least in terms of pro potential.
Talking with Steve Hellwagon from 247sports.com. Steve, Luke Kennard making an announcement yesterday that he is going to continue or going to start his basketball career at Duke University. That was a big loss. I mean, losing an in-state guy to Duke has to hurt Thad Matta.
I would agree 100%. I mean, this is a kid who would come in and probably start at the 3 position or the 2 position from day one. He averaged 40 points a game this year for Franklin, which is very similar to what John Diebler was doing at Upper Sandusky a few years ago. I mean, he was the entire team, and, you question their competition, playing just south of Dayton. And you just wonder, who he was playing against. And yet I've seen him play multiple times. He's got in-the-gym range. He can handle the ball. He's a football quarterback, so he's sturdy. I just like everything about this kid, and he would have been the prototype, Ohio recruit for the Ohio State Buckeyes, kind of like a Kraft or a Diebler, somebody at the Lighty, somebody like that. But it just didn't work out. He went on a visit to Duke. He loved it. And instead he's going to be playing for Coach K. And, he's probably a 3 or 4 year guy there, kind of a backbone type guy. They probably said you could be the next Reddick. So, there you go.
Talking with Steve Hellwagen from 247sports.com. Steve, I've been making the argument this morning. We've had some reaction, especially on social media, of people kind of, I guess, on the fence about this. But is this... Are we seeing kind of the course of action here with the season that just happened? Now you're losing an in-state recruit to Duke. Is the pressure on Thad Matta a little bit this next season to get something done and to really make a splash again? I mean, we've expected so much from him, and I get it that it's not Ohio State football, and so the pressure isn't going to be as great. But I don't think Buckeye fans either are going to be satisfied with having a team as lackluster as we had this year, getting into the NCAA tournament, getting bounced in the first or second round for many more years before they're I mean, we know how impatient Ohio State fans are. Is there a little bit of pressure on Thad Matta this season, especially after losing this in-state recruit?
Oh, Matt, I agree 100%, and I think that a lot of it is self-made. He raised the bar so high.
Yeah.
The school record for wins when he got there was 27. He's averaged 27.5 wins. He's had 3 30-win seasons, 5 Big Ten championships in his first 10 years. And to finish fourth and end up 25 wins and get knocked out in the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament and to lose your first NCAA tournament game, this was not a Thad Matta typical season. So I think he definitely is going to try and pull out all the stops to bounce back next season, and they've got the potential to do it. Even if Ross leaves, you'll still have 4 seniors with Scott, Thompson, and the 2 big men, Williams and McDonald, and there are several keys here. You got some nice talent coming in. You've got Cam Williams, who redshirted, and 4 incoming freshmen, including Jayshawn Tate from Pickerington and D'Angelo Russell, one of the top shooting guards in the country from Montverde Academy. He'll be in the McDonald's game next week and will also be in the National High School Invitational. All this stuff will be on the ESPN networks next weekend. You can watch him probably play 2 or 3 games on those networks next weekend and get a good judge on how you think he's going to fit in. There are 2 keys to this, Matt, in my opinion. Here's the first key. The seniors cannot be cliquish. They can't be standoffish. They got to welcome these freshmen with open arms and say, hey, you guys are the ones that are going to help us win the Big Ten.
Yeah.
If there's a problem chemistry-wise with this team, as there seemed to be with the one we just watched, then they're doomed to failure again, no question about it. And the second thing is Amir Williams. He has got to improve. He's got to learn how to catch the ball. He's got to learn to hang on to the ball. He's got to learn how to score the ball. He's got to learn how to rebound the ball. If he could overhaul his game, I mean, boy, he showed some signs early in the season against some of the lackluster teams they played. I said, how your guys with wide receiver have that jugs gun that they...
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Why are they not firing jugs machines at Amir Williams all day long? It seems ridiculous.
For 30 minutes a day, the entire offseason, and then for 15 minutes a day, practice rebounding and putting the ball back in the basket with people, all over you. Those are the 2 things. The seniors have to welcome the freshmen and say there is no class designation. I mean, they're the leaders, but they can't, poop on those guys. And then the second thing is, if Amir can improve and become a 10-8 guy, then they've got a chance to win the Big Ten and go far in the tournament. If not, if one of those 2 things happens, forget it. It'll be the same thing we saw this year.
Talking with Steve Hellwagen from 247sports.com. Steve, let's switch over to Buckeye football. Practice is going to be again today, 4 o'clock, I believe, out at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. But Saturday, had a little bit of a scrimmage going on. Linebacker Curtis Grant seemed to make some strides there, although I think he's being pushed very, very hard by Raekwon McMillan. It seems like that is a battle that Curtis Grant is really going to have to earn. Being a senior and being in the system for the last 4 years isn't going to be enough to get him that starting job.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Raekwon, the highly touted signee out of Georgia, and, Urban Meyer did an interview with CBS over the weekend and still marvels at how Ohio State was able to land Raekwon McMillan and what kind of impact he could have for the Buckeyes. Curtis isn't going to get it by default, that's for sure. And, he's been up and down with injuries and inconsistency. He's going to have to deliver the goods. It's a good situation to have. It sounds like Josh Perry's going to be at one linebacker spot, and Darren Lee has been doing a pretty good job at the other. And then if you use Raekwon, potentially, in the middle or find another spot for him in that core, it all depends. But great situation. I think it's, I asked Josh Perry after that practice on Saturday, I said, point blank, you're 5 practices into this. Is the defense better? And he said, oh, yes, no question about it. The impact that Chris Ash and Larry Johnson and new assistants have had to go along with Luke Fickell and Kerry Combs. Sounds like it's going pretty well with that group. And, it looks like, the defense is starting to come together. We know the front's going to be good. It's the back 7. It hurts that Von Bell's not out there, obviously, with an injury. But, I think that they're going to be much improved, I would think, going into 2014.
Talking with Steve Hellwagen from 247sports.com. Steve, Marcus Luttrell was out there. For those of you who don't know, the Lone Survivor book, Lone Survivor movie, is a Navy SEAL. Spoke to the team afterwards and really in some blunt talk. I mean, just saying that you guys don't have chemistry. You got a problem with someone, take it out back and settle it like men. Urban Meyer didn't look too happy when he was saying those kind of things. But really just some hard talk from a guy who, has been in some of the toughest situations. Got a real feeling from the team afterwards that those guys really took a lot of that stuff to heart, and maybe that's something that this team needed to look forward to and to really kind of assess where they were with this new team.
Yeah, I think it was an amazing address by an amazing American. I mean, if anybody who'd seen the movie, and a lot of the players on the team had seen the movie, that involved him as the sole survivor. I mean, it was an amazing address, and I think that he really put things to them. Obviously in the life and death situation that you have to count on one another and these type of things, and obviously football is not the same thing as warfare. They portray it sometimes or try and, use those terms at times. But, in this time, we've been in a military struggle for years now. And I think that the people understand that, this is going to be our way of life, at least for the time being. And he really brought a strong message to these kids. And as you said, you must have chemistry with the people that you're playing with. If you have problems with them off the field, settle it, figure it out. And then he said, if that doesn't work, go out behind the facility,
Yep.
Settle it as men, because your coach may not appreciate me saying that. But I don't think these guys are going to take it to those extremes. I think that this Ohio State team, contrary to what we saw with basketball, I think they've got pretty good chemistry over there. And I think that they're working really hard to try and have coming off a 12-2 season, again, Urban Meyer set the bar very high. The first year, 12-0, they were preseason top 2 or 3. Didn't live up to that. I think that obviously they're driving to have that type of season again.
We do it every Tuesday. Talk to Steve Hellwagen from 247sports.com. Steve, we'll do it again next week, buddy.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, man.
You just heard a badass podcast, and make sure to tune in every Monday through Friday from